boarding all over the place and everything. I want to find out all about what's behind that great dynamo and so forth.
The dynamo hum?
Yeah.
That's me in full effect.
Yeah. Checkerboard. I can remember we went to a picnic some time ago with the
yes,
ACAP.
yes, the ACAP picnic.
You brought this chicken that was so good.
Oh yeah, that was Mutant
You're
Mike.
not
Actually,
only
if you know my co-conspirator on the Checkerboard Kid show, the Masked Mutant, he came in with this gigantic big suitcase of chicken.
It was, and it was good.
Yeah, well, you had the special marinade.
And welcome very much conversation. We got one of the illustrious members of the NMNN production people here, that being Phil Dejean, and he is the one of the hosts, I guess, of the Checkerboard Kids show. Is that what you call it, Checkerboard Kids?
The Checkerboard Kids program, as it were. Je m'appelle Philippe Robert Dejean, but if you don't want to get too choosy, Phil Dejean is just right.
There you go.
I am honored to be up in the heezy with you.
It is my honor, sir, to welcome you to the program because you're one of the emerging stars of MNN. I don't know what we'd be doing without you. So welcome very much, Phil. Very much welcome to Conversations and Manhattan Network. And please, share with us. You have this program. We're going to talk about the program that you've been doing. You've been doing it for quite a while now. And
11
really
years.
good.
11 years.
Is it that long?
Has it been that long?
Has it been
yes,
that long?
it really has.
That we did the chicken in the Central Park?
No, even before that. What happens is when the show, we used to have to hand in a tape on 23rd Street way back in the days.
Were you back at 23rd?
Yes, I was. I was trained by Beth Bird and that posse over there.
Beth Bird?
Yeah, we're taking it back in the Eminem style.
Back in the good
and
old
then they had
days.
that big party at the library, and we
Yeah.
all get these little pins that say, "We're producers."
Okay, you go back. Yeah, I know you, so that's really good. But what I want to do is go back a little even further than that. And could you share?
To my birth?
Because if I understand right, you're a teacher.
Oh,
right
yes,
now,
yes,
but
yes.
I want to go back a little bit further. Could
it's
you
debatable.
share your life, when you were born and raised, that kind of thing? And this is going to be the Phil Hour.
Okay.
And so I want you to fill in about Phil on the Phil Hour. And I want you where you were born and raised. And then we'll wade into and talk about the show a couple clips and so forth.
Oh, by all means. Well, I'll love with you. Everybody's always like, "Where are you from? Are you from India? Are you from Pakistan? Are you from Hawaii or something? You from Japan?" Well, there was the one I was like, "I'm from Japan." No, actually, I'm Puerto Rican and Haitian.
Puerto Rican, yeah.
Puerto Rican and Haitian. My mom was Puerto Rican, my dad was Haitian, and they were both always like, my dad was always like, learn Creole. My mom was always like, learn Spanish. I never really learned either one because they were kind of like butting me against the other language, and I just like turned up my TV set, and I got this.
Learned English.
Yeah, I learned English really well.
Speak English.
Yes, I always was a big fan of Casey Kasem.
I know. I do, but I can't play. So.
All right, Casey Kasem used to do American Top 40. I always loved the radio. I always loved, and I always wanted to be like a DJ like him when I was a kid. Yeah. And also, he also did the voice of Robin on Justice League. Yeah, and Batman. Well, not the main live action show, but the cartoon one. Casey Kasem did the voice.
I'm not very familiar with cartoons, but okay, I should be. But anyway,
he was a really good announcer and just general good voiceover person.
Do you relate to your Puerto Rican roots?
Oh yeah, I'll eat some rice and beans up in here.
They did. I spent 10 months in Puerto Rico.
How'd you like it?
I loved it. It was way back in the dark ages.
Did you wear guayabera and
I was
Hibaro Dundee over here with a little machete?
I had been drafted in the United States Army, and I loved Puerto Rico. I was in Calle. Do you know the town of Calle? Out past Caguas toward Ponce?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It was great. It was beautiful. They had these lizards, green lizards and everything. It was beautiful, but I hated the Army, but that's another story. I don't want to bore you with that, but it was beautiful, Puerto Rico.
My dad was always saying, "Hey, I should join the Army." Really, he said, "This would be the right thing for you."
He thinks you could get straightened out, man.
Yeah, he thinks that would have made a man out of me.
You think it might be discipline could help you, right?
And I don't know, some discipline. I kept on playing the check for discipline, and it just didn't happen.
Yeah. Anyway, and I know you're a teacher. You're in the New York public school system.
Yes, Union 2, baby.
Talk a little bit about your education. You went to college.
Well, yes. Well, I'll level with you. I went to Parsons College of Design, also the new school, the new School of Social Research, and I got my BA over there in fine arts.
On 23rd Street or downtown?
Actually, on 13th Street.
13th.
13th Street. Yes, there was that one over there. And then I went to Mercy College for my Masters of Science.
That's out in Westchester somewhere.
It's all the way like Croton on the Hudson or something like
Croton's
that.
A nice sound.
But it's so beautiful. I was sitting there just watching the water smack against the pier.
That's where we get. That's one of the big reservoirs from which we get our great water.
Really?
New York City is the best water in the country. I think.
Well, I do not doubt that. It's some of my favorite water.
But the Croton Reservoir is the one that supplies it. Yeah. So were you living up there, or did you commute up there?
No, actually, we were down. They actually built one down on 34th, where next to where Victoria's Secrets is in
Herald Square.
Herald Square, Harold Chandler Square.
No, but it's spelled H-E-A-R-L-D. I was thinking of changing my name because my name is Harold, and nobody names their kid Harold anymore.
Really?
Used to be a.
What about Weird Harold, that guy in the Fat Albert and the Cosby
Couldn't
Kids?
you have thought of something other than Weird Harold? You could have thought about King Harold. There was a King Harold. There were a couple nice named Harold. Couldn't you have thought of that?
There was
Weird
a coloring
Harold?
book. There was a coloring book with the kid Harold and the purple crayon.
That's right. I've got it.
I love that.
He could just draw whatever. He just made up whatever thing. He walked into the situation. He grew with his purple cane.
That's some beautiful stuff.
But nobody names their kid Harold. So my name is Harold Hudson Channer.
Yes.
I use my maternal grandmother's name, Hudson. So I was thinking of changing my name. What do you think after all these years?
Dude,
I was thinking of changing.
I say keep it real.
No, but I want to get a suggestion from you, Checkerboard Kid. Because, you know, if I came out, instead of spelling my name H-A-R-O-L-D, which seems to be, everything's Dejean or something now. Everything's Jennifer or something, the names and everything. But I could spell it H-E-A-R-L-D. Conversations with Harold Hudson Channer.
So you would be the Harold.
Harold. What do you think? Should I do that or should I just stick with H-A-R-O-L-D?
I would just say you could always.
No, this is important.
No. I'm thinking.
I need to think.
I'm pondering upon this.
Yeah, what do you think?
I think
conversations.
I think you should have the Harold like in quotes at first, and Harold Hudson Channer.
In some sort of a goofy font,
yeah,
right?
Just have a big thing. Conversation with Harold Hudson.
I think
Channer.
I'm going to stick with Harold because my dad was named Harold, my grandfather was Harold. You know.
Don't jump the horse.
Let's get off me. We want to talk about you.
Hey yo, let's get off you.
So you got up to Mercy. You did a master's in fine art.
I got my master's. I graduated over 4.0. You know, graduated with distinction. Now, needless to say, I'm going through some problems.
That means you didn't get ever grade ever than an A.
Never lower than an A. Word. Now, that would mean that I might know something about teaching. I might know something a little bit about teaching, right? So now I'm going
I'll bet you're a great teacher. That's my guess.
You should mention that. I'm going through a big dispute right now with my principal. I don't even know if I can legally talk about this. I'm held down by the court system.
You're having trouble with the administration?
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
All the Union 2 people, trouble with administration. Well, needless to say, this chick's trying to take my license, so she's trying to go for it in the worst way possible. Saying, she said, I'm a danger to society. You know what? A lot of
That's what they said about Socrates.
Yeah, exactly. But look how he ended up.
Him.
Yeah.
Hemlock. Yeah.
Just gonna slip it in my yoo-hoo or something like
that. For
that.
corrupting the youth. Are you corrupting our youth?
No, the youth is already corrupt. Man. The youth's gone wild.
All right.
Over here.
Running wild. Ron Ushak.
Yeah,
Ron
Ushak,
Ron was here. God bless him.
Yeah. I tell you, he's still around.
I haven't seen him for a while, but anyway, he's a funny guy.
I see his stuff up online on YouTube.
Yeah, isn't that great? Isn't the YouTube just great?
I love it. You know. I sit there, not only when I'm sitting there watching all the other M&N characters.
There's getting more and more up there.
Yeah, I'm sitting there, exactly. I would say our station is definitely taken over pretty much over there. But it's funny to see the things that the old TV shows, all the old things like that, and I just favorite them all. I just watch it all night, and I'm like, I got to go to school in the morning.
I used to hate going to school. I hated school. I didn't ever like school. I shouldn't say that because there's some kids watching the show 10:30 in the morning. But I never liked school. I never liked it.
A lot of students that really didn't like school, but once they met me, they started like. You know, I'm an art teacher, so it's like they're very interested in what I had to say, or I would show animation at the end of school, like I used to run the anime club back in the days.
Okay.
And kids would be really interested.
You're into animation.
Yes, I like the whole Japanese genre of animation. I think that's fantastic. And I just ever since I was a little kid, and now I am one of those people that's just jumping on the bandwagon. I saw like Akira and thought it was the S, but I was watching it when they used to run it on Channel 47 on the Spanish station, the little Spanish subtitles.
Spanish?
Yeah, no, actually they ran it in Japanese with Spanish subtitles.
Hey, but you weren't able to handle the Spanish like your mother said you should.
Well, see, that's the hard part.
No habla español.
I could only understand un poco though.
Un poco de.
Yes. Yeah. So a poquito. I understand, and actually that inspired me because the one thing I do love is reading. So if the words be under there, I'd love.
You love to read.
Yes, I love
words. You love to read words?
Yes.
I mean, like more than, what do you like better, words or images and
I like words
design?
and images, and see, this brings me to my next point, because I love comic books. You know, I'm a big proponent of comic books because it inspires a lot of literacy in people that cannot read, and also inspires people to go.
What's so great about literacy?
what's so great about literacy?
reading? What's so great about reading?
Well, for one thing, it improves your brain skills,
You
much
think
like
it does,
playing chess.
huh?
So like playing chess out there, I know. I saw the Chess Now guy on your show, so I know you ain't joking around.
Any great chess is a good discipline.
Yeah,
Like everybody
and it also helps people become smarter. So the more you read, the better you get.
You know, when they were first coming in, I don't know, it was Homer? I'm not sure. It might have been Socrates. I'm not sure. They didn't want to let the poets into the Republic because they were coming out of an oral tradition, and they didn't want to let the writing in because they said if you write it down, it will create forgetfulness in the learner's mind coming out of an oral tradition of storytelling.
I'd say to a point, they have a point on that one. But
so it created linear, Marshall McLuhan said that's what created linear thinking, where everything gets strung out into, like...
Well, there are lots of people strung out, but I don't know about that.
Michener, he starts his book, just first thought.
Is that
he starts it. No, he starts the book Hawaii, and I've said this before in other programs and everything, but it takes 8 pages of good literature to describe a person standing on a headland in Hawaii. Okay. And it's got the wind is coming and the sun is in the sky and the bird is going here and that if it takes 8 pages to describe what if you were standing there in real life, you would experience multisensorially all at once in a moment. All at once.
Exactly.
And that's what's happening in terms of the media now. McLuhan said that the phonetic alphabet is what created Western thinking, linear thinking. So you're tied up with linear thinking and the alphabet. I'm not so sure the alphabet is so important.
If it was a movie script, though, that would be 8 minutes right there.
Yeah.
Like 8 pages, that would be a minute a page. So I'm still standing here.
Right. Well, that's me talking away. Now, they're not very good economy of scale, but I'm not so sure the alphabet's so important. If I could, let me ask you something. I saw a thing on one Christmas day. I was really happy. You know, sometimes you're really happy, some reason, no reason. Chicken cooking is happy. But they had a thing on television, and you're talking about animation. They had a thing, and it was depicting the world. And they had the best animators and the best paleontologists and the people.
They assumed the best.
No, they were real scholars and everything. And they presented the world the way it looked 45 million years ago after the dinosaurs had been, the first mammalians from which we come.
What year did this come? What year was this?
It was a couple years ago. And they did it. It was 4 hours. I could not take my eye, and it was all animation. And the animation is so real. I saw King Kong the other night, the new one. It's incredible like that. But they had the animation. They're presenting the best material. There wasn't one single word in the whole time except the spoken voice. And Google is going to translate the languages of the world.
Yeah.
So you could take that thing and you could present that. You could put it through put it in front of you speak English and it comes out Zimbabwe. Or it comes out Swahili.
Well,
so you could educate
like a Babelfish,
without,
stuff.
But you could educate to the highest order of understanding without a single written word ever. Why do we spend so much time necessarily that people have to read? What's so great about reading? You said you are. I'm interested in that.
What is so great about reading?
But I think maybe we're getting into a post-literate. I think we're coming into a post-literate era.
Well, considering that a lot of people, a lot of people just don't want to read. That's the hard part. They feel like reading's just too hard, or I just can't do it, or math problems involving reading. What's with this? But the bottom line is this: it does exercise your brain. It does make you smarter. I mean,
you think it does?
You think being smarter is important?
Yeah, I do, but I'm not so sure the reading is necessarily the way to get information.
Reading is a part of it.
It might be a slow way to get information. Aren't the kids getting away from?
Yeah, they're trying to get away from it as fast as they can.
You're in touch with them. What level you teach now? Art, right?
Yes, I teach
and the
art,
high school level.
But I also actually right now they have me in an administrative duty, so now I'm doing a lot of what do they call a lot of covering
linear
classes.
Bookkeeping.
Yeah, no, I'm just covering a lot of classes. So I get to cover all the different classes, and I get to see through the other teachers' eyes and how they're treated.
You mean you're going to do a class in geometry or something?
Yeah, but though they just give me here's Xerox copies. Just make sure the kids learn something.
A lesson plan.
Yeah, right. They don't give me the lesson plan. Sometimes I get a piece of thing scrawled on a piece of paper like. Do things 1, 2, 3. You know, I'm like
do what they do. Okay, but I mean, well, tell me about that because you're teaching at the high school level. Is that it?
Yes, I believe I am teaching at the high school level.
You're an art teacher, and I bet you're really good. I bet you get the attention, and you can sync up with them, right? Well, you understand the young people that are coming up in their consciousness.
I'll level with you. A lot of kids have been traumatized. A lot of kids have been some of the pressure on them to be very good artists or something like that. They feel like I can't do this because I'm not a great artist. I'm like, what about the kind of the therapeutic ideas of art? You know, you do something and you feel better after you paint it. Look what I made. Look what I did. Look at the colors that I made. You know, you're not trying to be like Michelangelo or things like that. You're trying to make something for self. You're trying to maybe try to make a nice little box for your mom or something like that. Is there something wrong with that? No.
No. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, you're just trying to do something that looks pretty and just, you know, a lot of people they've been traumatized by family that say, "Oh, that art sucks," or the teachers even. You'll never go anywhere with art. And this is what leads to the people of the future that don't want to put money towards art in schools.
Help me here.
Money towards art, music in schools.
Okay, help me now. That's all.
Let me say something. I went to
yeah.
LaGuardia High School, which is no joke when it comes to music and art. Anybody want to dispute it?
No, is that
Anybody want to fight with it?
Talk to me. Is that me? That's really good. You're talking.
The LaGuardia
it's a good school.
It's the best school.
Okay.
The LaGuardia High School of the Arts is the best school for music and art. What's going to be like? Frank Sinatra School is going to beat us? No. Crazy? They might try to have our legs broken, but no. And it's funny because they put us right across the street from Martin Luther King, where I teach.
Martin Luther King's right over here, isn't it?
And so is
I mean, it's close to here where we are now on 59th Street?
Yes, it's right down the block.
Oh, and that's where you teach art?
Yes. I teach. So if anyone wants to come and beat me up for anything I'm saying, feel free to meet me outside school, just like old days.
Oh, they don't. So do you teach, you were saying, why do you do art? So do you teach art only, or do you teach other things? Or is the school given over to art? I'm sorry, I just don't know.
No, well, our school would like to be, but, you know, we're getting into a political thing that I just don't want to be touching right now. Now, until my court case is pending, don't want to talk about it.
We don't want you to go anywhere where you don't feel comfortable going, okay? Yes. This is the thing where
Well, I want to be able to talk about anything, you know, because, you know, it's all good, and I ain't scared. What happens, happens.
But the arts are overlooked in terrible sense because they don't pay any attention to that because they just want everybody to be an engineer in order to create things. And it's all,
everybody to be a lawyer.
And what they really do,
everybody be a lawyer
and a business person and everything, because the thing is that, you know, they're training people to do, let me put this forth. So I got a thing in my thing. What's the difference between a high school and a prison?
What?
And they said not a lot, because what they're teaching people to do really is to be subservient to an authority figure so they'll fit into corporate America.
No wonder it's not working with me.
Well, do you think that's the case? Or what do you feel about it?
I'm getting in trouble.
I'm
getting in trouble because my principal's going, "You're too sloppy. The kids aren't learning enough." I'm like, how are you measuring that? And the measurement for artistic learning is just... It's all, you know, you can't put a fine point on it.
Yeah, you can't quantify
some people can.
That.
Sometimes you can. I'm trying to work on that.
And what's with this? They're going to test all the time. They're going to test.
Well, that's
to
figure
a pain in the neck all the time.
That's trying to figure out what schools are going to get more money. So, like, if your kids are smarter, they get more money. Get it? It doesn't have anything to do with, you know, whether you taught them anything. You know, just because that's the cruelty. They can put you in a school that has a whole bunch of smart kids, and you know, not saying that kids aren't smart, not saying that other kids aren't smart at other things, but if all your kids don't try, and they don't learn certain things like reading,
all right,
your school's going to do bad. Because believe me, I've run across some kids that can't read. All right?
Well, you know, you don't have to. One of the things, I'm one who is, you know, I got a lot of controversial things in my thing, and one of them is I don't think learning and reading is such a great thing.
What?
I really don't. I don't think it's such a big thing. You
can't read them.
Well, you got the kids sitting there in front of that television, and what's happening is we're extending our consciousness disproportionately as we put out tools and so forth, and we extend. And the only thing we had until about yesterday was reading. That's all we had to convey literature. Now we have a whole array of other ways in which learning can be done. And one of the kids are telling us is they're getting back to a multisensorial relationship to the environment rather than an extended linear perception that the society is trying to lay down on them because of social economic organizing.
I like that.
And it's all at once. They're living all at once, and they're living immediately and quickly, and they're more in advance of the way we're going to become as a human species than are the adults who are tied up with institutions that are outdated.
It's funny because
I think the kids should lead us.
Well, I believe the children are the future, but I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of these kids getting addicted to these video games where you just go in the game and you kind of have a job and you do all the like Second Life and things like that, and they're going for it, you know.
They're going for what?
They have a whole different life. not on this
virtual.
Virtual living, and I guess eventually on the road, everything will be virtual.
Well,
it's so funny. A friend of mine, actually Mass Mutant, the guy from my show, he's like, oh, God, I was just playing Sims 3, and I'm taking care of the person to make sure they cut their hair, making sure that they take a bath, making sure that they do these, making sure that they do those, and making sure they do all these things, like go to the bathroom and stuff like that. I'm like, dude, you don't do that for yourself. How are you going to do it for this other person that just virtually exists?
Well, how do you think they feel? Fill me in, because I don't have young people around me much. I mean, what is their general attitude? Are they optimistic about the situation, the human prospect? Are they pessimistic? What do they think about the so-called leadership of our planet Earth and the political and economic leadership and so on? What is their general attitude toward the world, do you think?
Well,
are they alienated?
Well, a lot of the kids, I would say, are looking for something. They're looking. Their parents aren't there, or
their parents aren't there, because
or they have a situation where their grandparent is in charge of them, or they're waiting for their parents to get back from jail or rehab or whatever, and they're in situations that they're looking for somebody to follow, and school is not it, because school, right now the teens they listen to other teens. So that's why kids get put into sexual situations. That's why the kids get put into some gang situations. And, not necessarily dissing somebody's situation, like, you're with your clique and that's cool, but, if you have to kill somebody to be in the, come on. What's that? What positivity comes out of this? Yeah, you get your rep up. Yeah, you get this. Yeah, you get that. But then you get a lifetime. You get busted. You're going to be in jail. I'm going to be in jail. I'm going to be in jail with my clique. But you might want to have sex with a woman one day. That's not a guy that you bought for a pack of cigarettes. You might want something different than that. Sorry.
Well, no, there's
throwing it out there for the people.
Sounds like there's a lot of alienation out there at that level. I mean, I'm talking about maybe in general, the youthful people coming along. I mean, what's their attitude toward the authority figures?
Oh, they hate it. They hate them.
They do, really. Now you're talking across the boards in a certain sense. Or they feel like there's a new world needed, or that I've got John, John Kowalski and the Blue and the Colors Project.
Oh,
they
yes,
come here and they
John.
say they think they're coming from another planet, and they're trying to understand what the hell these human beings are about. We're ready to blow the planet up. They got all this silly politics.
Yeah,
they got these outdated
don't even get me started with religion. I'm not even going to go there, because what?
No, but you understand what I'm saying. Is there a sort of sense of alienation against the system and that sort of thing among the youth? Do they laugh at it? Is it
there's a lot of
satirical?
rebellion. There's a lot of rebellion, but there's also a lot of conformity too.
Okay.
And they're afraid to be different. Some kids, they might secretly be gay. They're afraid to be that because they're afraid that their friends will leave them, or they're afraid that people will hate them, or they're afraid that their family will hate them.
That's that peer thing.
Some kids come from situations like they might be from Jamaica, and it's lauded that if one of your kids be a bati boy, they're gonna kill your kid.
What's a bati boy?
That's like a gay kid.
Oh, a gay kid. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So what happens is they're just gonna stone him on the street, and everybody's okay with it. Yeah. Ridiculousness.
There's a lot of that. Okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of cultural stuff going on.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you deal with those young. You ever see a kid like a five? Phil, I think my favorite human beings. I don't know, as a group. I mean, I think are 5-year-olds.
You think?
Do you deal with 5-year-olds are so honest. Do you know what I mean by honest?
True that.
They've got practically no artifice, and they're honest. Or just take a newborn infant. They're so gorgeous, and one of the things about them is they're so curious about everything. They're really curious, and we somehow beat that out of them in the name of some socializing process.
Usually maybe religion or this or that.
Or for whatever. But do you understand? They're beautiful. But what do we do? I mean, it's like Eric Fromm wrote a book, The Sane Society. The society in its norms is not sane.
Of course
I mean,
not.
is there that kind of an opposition in the abroad in the world of the youth and so forth? And that it's maybe absurd?
Yeah.
That we don't have a world that's organized properly for the, for the expression of the human capability and spirit and so forth.
Well, I would think that there would be. I think it would be an art or something like that.
Yeah, right. Well,
there's the artistic expression. The moment that a kid might make a music that's music to him or her, and it might not be music to other people's ears, so they shout him down. But you know what? That sound is beautiful to them, and how dare we scoff at that and scoff at that beauty of that thing.
I think above all else, if you can just keep the curiosity that seems to be inherent in the youth alive, but we seem to beat it out with them. And
because we want people,
to hate all those irregular verbs.
We want people not to ask questions.
We want them to be compliant wage slaves within a system where they're going to have to do what they're told in order to have the right to have something to eat. I mean, it's like wage slavery is what they're being trained to fit into. And in fact, what they're going to have to be fitting, we're going to have a society that's going to liberate the humans. Don't you feel like liberation's in the air or something? Or don't they feel a great rebellion coming or a revolution coming or something? And why do they put up with all this nonsense that we've inherited out of history?
You know, a lot of students are really happy with, I feel, with being stupid. I mean, not being stupid, but acting ignorant. Like, nigga, I don't know. Please, the N-word is like all day, every day, and I'm upset by that. But then they're just like going on like, I'm being a rebel by calling somebody a nigger. That's some stupid S right there. You know what I mean? I'm being a rebel by, you know, I'm doing that because you can't do that, or, you know, it's ridiculous. And what I feel is the next generation, like the 5-year-olds of today, are the kids that are going to be so upset that people are so ignorant and stupid, and acting like being ignorant and stupid is the good thing. Please,
do people have it?
Look around the channels. Look around the channels and look at the TV commercials. What? Girls Gone Wild? This, that? I mean, what did, you know?
I see some really good stuff on MNN.
Oh,
I think
well,
public access television and
we're
the
people,
first
front.
I think that seriously,
we're the people's front.
No, at all levels, Phil. Not just in the level of that kind of thing about peer groups or young people, but in the level of politics or in the level of understanding the human condition or the level of policy. It's not going to come from the leaders.
Right.
It's not going to come from political leaders or the people that we see on television or from that. It's going to come from the people.
Right, and that's
why
it's going to be seen on public access. That's why I like YouTube.
Sister institutions, YouTube.
Because what happens is we are choosing the music that we want, like the music that I choose on my show. I mean, usually I do ska, but sometimes I do some other weird stuff.
Ska is like Scottish?
No, it's not Scottish.
Oh, sorry.
Ska is an old version of Jamaican music before reggae. It's like the predecessor of reggae.
Really?
But yes, huh? And it is mutated into such a form that when it came to England during the 80s, ska
came from Jamaica.
Yes, it came from Jamaica.
I didn't know that. I associated it with England and Scotland.
Yeah. Well, what happens is a lot of people associate it with that English thing because they had the English beat and all these different really good ska bands. And then it came across the second. Now I'm up to the third wave. Third wave came over to America, and it was very big here, Toasters and stuff, and then New York side, and then on the East Coast there was like all the other good ska bands coming on there. So there's a lot of history here, and then there's a lot of good bands. So there's a lot of stuff that people never hear because you know what? It's just not commercial enough.
Oh, really?
Not commercial enough. Some of it's too jazzy. Too commercial. Not commercial enough. Some bands, when there was actually a small, brief moment when ska was really
small,
big.
shining moment.
All right, this third wave. I think everybody was really big into Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, and No Doubt was becoming very big. Yeah. Gwen Stefani, great singer. What happens is that became very popular, and then they turned it over for swing music for the 3 seconds.
Swing.
But you know what?
Swing from the 30s.
Yeah,
the 40s,
when everything old
Les
is new
Brown,
again. Yeah. So what happens is after they did that, then the music's still, ska music's still out there. So I try to put the bands on there and get people to hear
on your
stuff.
program.
Yeah.
Okay, you're putting some good stuff out there.
Yeah, I feel I put some good bands.
And there
out
are some places where good stuff comes through.
Yeah.
I recommend
all the
gatekeepers.
Yeah, I recommend check out some Slackers, check out some Skylights, check out some
Slacker.
The Slackers. No, not the movie Slacker.
The movie
there's
great. I love the movie.
There's a band called the Slackers.
They're all a bunch of no good dropouts.
Well,
right? I loved it.
Actually, I love it with you. The band, the Slackers. A lot of them all have their master's degrees, and they're just going for this. So I say check them out.
I know.
It's a living contradiction, but
I used to really like Yellow Man. He was really good.
Yellow
Man was great in that. And Marley, of course, and all of that. And there was a revolutionary content
there was a
to that
time,
and everything.
All right. And that's
love reggae.
That's the point that I was trying to talk about. Revolution. We are choosing the revolution.
Revolution, yes, it's in the air.
Exactly.
It should be in the air.
And people are getting pissed. We don't want to keep listening.
Thank you.
We don't want to listen to the same commercial music that the radio stations used to pay the people used to pay the radio stations under the table to play the same damn 10 songs so we could hear all these dumb commercials. So we are sidestepping that, and we could listen to whatever we want now.
Yeah, there may be a revolution coming from the people. One of the problems is, even in cable television, you have more time. It's a limited amount of time we have. Sure. We could talk to you for about 20 hours easy, right?
Right.
We could just go on like this and on and on and on and on. But the trouble is we only have so much time, and I know you have a couple of clips that you brought that you want to play. So maybe we should be thinking about putting some of that in.
Okay.
What do you think? What do you?
Yes.
And maybe
I had some short clips.
Let me segue a little bit because you're going to be from your show, and you're on public access here in New York.
Yes.
You're one of the stars.
But you could also check it out on YouTube, and you also check it out on the internet.
Just think, 6 months ago you couldn't to say check it out on YouTube.
Yeah.
Isn't there something about the advance of technology that's very liberating?
True that.
Isn't that something else,
it'll
man?
get
We're
even
now
more.
streaming this program is seen by the penguins in Antarctica. They can see Checkerboard Kids in Antarctica, the penguins, if they punch the button right.
And also some polar bears uptown.
Right, yeah. No, but I mean, isn't there's faith in the technology? Do you have? I have great faith.
I have great faith
in the liberating capability of technology.
Eventually, everything's going to be virtual. Everybody will have these little chips and stuff like that, looking on little things like that. And we'll see totally different stuff.
Well, we have a capacity to make this world sing for everybody and all the creatures. We have an evolved capability coming out of a long history of scarcity.
Wait a second. But also keep in mind that we're also the same society that only like so many people own computers, and there's a whole bunch of computers, right?
That's because we have outdated institutional assumptions economically and politically.
Yeah.
We have a capability that our systems won't let us realize.
There's like 3 computers in Africa, okay? Yeah. There's like 3 computers.
No, there's 4. There's 4, I heard.
Right.
4.
They just got a new one.
They got another one down there.
And you know what? It's an old PC.
Yeah, but you see, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile.
Yeah, I tell you.
They're going to want 4. They're going to want 5. They're going to want 6.
And that's the cruelty. There's like a billion computers, and like
the system's all set up to serve those who are already rich and powerful.
Yeah, well, I'm not rich and powerful, so no,
but we're going to be able to subvert that. We're going to be able to subvert that.
We are the subversion.
We are
the revolution.
We're going to be able to subsume
23rd Street.
What the
heck?
heck?
Here comes the thing. All right, they're running a tape.
Yeah. All right. This is the clip. Am I talking over this?
No, yeah, talk. I guess.
Okay.
Talk.
All right. This is the clip of the time warp over here. This is them performing on the Checkerboard Kid show.
Okay.
And it's very interesting because actually.
This is from the what do you call it?
The Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Horror.
Yeah.
This is playing off the Rocky Horror.
Yeah. Well, we actually had the cast come down here.
No kidding.
Yeah. Well, you know they've been doing a live show all this time. They just moved to 23rd Street, and I highly recommend people check them out. Another interesting thing about them, I personally have been involved with the Rocky Horror Picture Show for over half my life.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you, sir. No. Let's see. Yeah, that's the masked mutant in the background with the blonde hair. If you don't recognize them. Let's do the time warp again.
It's just a jump to the left.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I tell you, and it's a great institution because if you go down to the show anywhere, I've been to the show around the world. I've been to the show in England. I've been to the show in California, Florida, Albany, anywhere, and everywhere you go, you're always welcome.
Yeah.
And it is like no.
Oh, fantasy free me, so you can't see me. No, not at all. In another
No, they look
dimension.
yeah. But that's an example. Yeah, it's the catch. Yeah, it's the pre-show, you know.
Secluded, I see all.
Huh? Who?
You're into
Ooh,
the
hold it.
time slip.
Meatloaf. You're saying meatball. Oh yes. Yeah, but you know, actually, part of his acting, he used to do he used to do whatever happened Saturday Night Live. You know what used to happen Saturday Night Live? Whatever happened Saturday night. My phone call there. There's Columbia. So he's one of my favorite characters.
To the left. With your hands on your hips.
Actually, last year or the year before that. I mean, I always go to the show every year, but, you know, yeah. Yeah, these are the cats. Oh, well, all right, let me explain. Okay. That's the end of the clip.
Okay, now we may have been, all right, we're back. We may have been talking over it. I don't know. We were talking about, those are the actual cast members of a show.
Actually,
you're lip syncing from the original, right?
Oh, right, from the original soundtrack,
right.
but that was the floor show from the 23rd Street cast of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, so they're doing, I didn't know they were doing that.
Now, around the world.
They look like it.
Now, check it out. Around the world, California, Indiana, I don't know about Indiana, South Carolina. There's a whole bunch
pretty
of...
weird. I was there for a couple of years.
Actually, there's a whole bunch... Actually, I think there's a whole bunch of Rocky Horror casts around the world.
Yeah, right.
Around the world.
It's a
England
phenomenon,
and Japan and
I love it. Yeah.
And sometimes we have all these really good conventions. It's really fantastic.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what that was. It was just a year or so ago.
Yeah.
That was seriously good. That was really serious.
And
good
it's
stuff.
a great show, and I highly recommend it. I think, can I plug their website?
Absolutely.
All right. If you want to see Rocky Horror in the New York City area, I'm sure they'll hit you to all the other ones around your area if you're watching this around the world. www.nycrhps.org. So check it out, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Right, it's great. It's a great thing. I loved it, man. It was a great movie, and they had Meatloaf.
Now, Meatloaf, yes, I like Meatloaf, and that was my character. I used to play Eddie, and then the cast.
You played in this cast?
Yes,
you were in the
this
cast. That's how you got all that talent here, right?
Well, please, I've been going there for so long, over 15 years of my life.
You like the Rocky Horror Show, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? As a young kid, I was a kid from the Bronx.
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about nobody.
Yeah.
I never got laid or anything like that. And I used to go to this one show, and everybody was friendly and nice to me. It didn't matter what race I was. It didn't matter what sexuality I was. It didn't matter nothing about nobody. Everybody was cool about everything. And
what a nice environment.
It was a great environment.
Why couldn't the whole world be like that?
Exactly. And so what I used to do is when I was a little kid, I used to just grab my book bag and stuff put my pajamas in there and say, all right, I'm going to Rocky. I don't know where the after party's going to be, but then I'm going to go to Rocky the next day. Even if I didn't have enough money, I know
they do it at midnight. You do
they did.
You take your candles, you light the candle and everything?
Oh, no candles, no open flames in the theater except for
I've been
really
places where you could light the candle.
Well, different places.
Yeah.
Why is this
But it goes at midnight. The Rocky Horror Midnight Show.
Yeah, they usually let them in a little earlier because there's usually a pre-show and stuff like that.
Great group of people always.
Yeah,
great group of people.
And then I would go to exactly. Yeah, you would think all the way that they dress like they're not solid citizens, but they are a bunch of great people. And I tell you, around the world, you'd see.
It's the bohemian spirit, the artistic spirit. No,
exactly.
Yeah?
Yes,
satirical.
yes. And you'll notice if you talk
how else to deal with this world but satirical?
Exactly.
What a relief that is.
That's what Rocky Horror with Richard O'Brien was all about.
Putting on the people who are so serious about all this nonsense that they're trying to put down.
Yeah, and in fact, it's so funny because when Rocky Horror first came out, they were trying to be like serious horror, or this serious horror film, but just people started making fun of it, and that's where the cult began. Yeah. Somebody started adding lines to the movie. Is that
something that the kid, you're in high school, you're talking 13, 14, 15 or something, are they into satirical in terms of that? Like you have the Comedy Channel, I understand they all watch that rather than...
watch a lot of Cartoon Network and the G4 network.
But rather than watching the news and so forth, because
nobody wants to know about the news. They don't want to hear about people getting killed on Iraq.
They don't want to
that might be them.
They don't want to know about it, or they think they're being sold a bill of goods. Can they see through it? Are they able to see through the PR that's being laid down?
There's a lot of kids I know want to join the army, but I just I tell them, dude.
Where did that come from? Is that from a thing they want? It's a career choice. You can maybe get to become an engineer, maybe get a right to eat bread.
Here's the point. I want to try and make some money so I can go to college, and a lot of them find themselves getting shipped right to Iraq.
And the college thing really is not any longer like the liberal arts or something you want to learn or none of that kind of thing. It's in order to be able to do something where you might be able to get a job within the corporation that makes it so you can eat. Or maybe eat cake every once in a while on Sunday or something. Or that you can benefit. It's a career thing. It's got nothing to do with learning. And health insurance. What I'm saying. It used to be back in the old days. I told you one time when I told you we did a thing. We bought a place back in 1970.
Yes, in Woodstock.
It was outside of Woodstock. It was south of New Paltz. And I mean, we bought a place, and there were a bunch of us. We made a commune. It was a thing. And we bought it, and it was a hotel. It had a hotel. It had a house with a regular bourgeois house with insulation and everything. It had a tennis court. It had a swimming pool. It had a badminton court. It had 17.5 acres, and it was on the side of a thing. And it was a hotel, like a big institution, everything. And it cost $25,000. You could buy it out of money in your pocket.
Wow, and like imagine that compared to
almost.
Now here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Nobody
you can't buy a closet, shoe closet.
Nobody had to be concerned about how am I going to live materially. That was when that was about when Richie Havens was about to sing Freedom.
Freedom.
Yeah.
Freedom.
Now, if you have a world where people are not going to have to be concerned with that, would that be hopelessly disincentive to the human population to do things? I mean, can we ever have a thing? I mean, that was the attitude that was there. Nobody was concerned with the. Now it seems all education about is a career path. They're just training people to be
Hopefully
workers
you
and
get
that
a
kind
career
of thing.
path.
And this is the same time the technology is displacing labor in the full thing.
Right,
It's
everything's
displacing
outsourcing.
Well, but beyond outsourcing, Phil, beyond outsourcing to China where they can really exploit slave things, or India, out beyond that, the technology is displacing human input to production writ large. And we've got a thing, Aristotle said, Periclean Greece was a slave society. They say we'll have to always have slaves so some can lead the life of the mind and the spirit until and unless the loom learn to weave. The loom is learning to weave, and all of the production is now over on the side of capital assets, which are owned by a tiny group of people, and they just let that be the standard. And the people are not going to be necessary to an autonomous or to an autonomic world that's coming. And we got a real problem because we got outdated institutions. We're asking people to be slaves, picking up leaves on the estates of the few people who own the assets, and we don't have a progressive community with a message that'll challenge the whole thing.
You know what's going to happen?
What's going to happen? Tell me. What do the kids think? Anarchy.
All right, so take it from here.
Or what would the deers? They won't know what to do if they are not being told or given the directions by our leaders who are going to tell them what to do.
These people that are sitting around there going, let them eat cake. You know what? All that paper money that you're sitting on and have under your mattress is going to be totally useless because if everybody starts picking up weapons and going to town, all these video games you've been teaching them all day to how to kill people.
Does a video game, is that good for learning how to work a weapon?
Some of them, the kids from Columbine, that's how they learn to get their kill ratios up by playing video games.
They're really big.
Yeah,
but I've never had anything. I've never had anything to do with
any of those.
I've never had anything to do with them, but I know they're really important. It's a failing on my part. Are they things based on violence and fighting and that kind of thing, or what are the messages? It's hand coordination or some hand-mind coordination or something? What's it, and what is the content of those video games apart from
it depends,
television? Or what's it inculcating in the consciousness of the youth?
I can't. I'm only seeing a peripheral because I see what the kids are.
You're getting on in
into.
years now.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to be 40 this year.
Are you 40? How come you look so good?
Well, I'll tell you what is your secret? Drinking the blood of young virgin babies.
That does it.
I'm kidding. But seriously, folks, I owe it to. I would say listening to a lot of ska music that I'm
ska does it.
Yes.
This is the body that ska built.
Yeah. And also the body that Red Stripe built over here, the belly over here.
Yeah. No, but the video games are part of the technological thing. See, the technology is all speeding up now.
You know what?
And it's coming exponential, Philip.
It's true. If they made more video games that dealt with stuff that kids were going to be able to deal with in the future, that would be a better thing. That would
They used to have a thing, the guys that are juggling the atomic bombs, they're going to blow everything up rather than let the people be free. They're going to do that kind of thing. But they used to have a thing called war games, and that's what they would do. They have war games against fighting that. But there was one guy, Bucky Fuller. I don't know if the youth picked up on. Has the youth picked up on Buckminster Fuller yet?
No, we actually.
Why? Why haven't they picked up on the good people?
You know how I picked up on Buckminster Fuller? I was working. He was an architect, right?
Well, he was a comprehensivist.
He did a lot of things, but the main point is this: I knew Buckminster Fuller because Laurie Anderson used to speak about him.
Who?
Laurie Anderson, who's a performance.
Laurie Anderson's great.
If I could get her on my show, that would rule.
He was the leading person representing the spirit of the '60s, in my humble opinion. Beyond all of the Vedic people.
Here's how I know Buckminster Fuller. I used to work in the slide area in Parsons, and I used to have to put all the slides back after the art history teachers would do it. Needless to say, I got all A's in my art history because I was really good at naming places. So, so there's like a big Buckminster Fuller area, so I used to put those in.
You used to put Buckminster Fuller
slides.
slides.
Slides in.
Put those are good. Anyway, the thing he had a thing called World Game, and what they did, it wasn't all ideologically lied. Our intelligence agencies are hopelessly out of touch with things. But he had a thing where they took human trends, capabilities, new materials, everything that's going on, and they figured out how to make the world work. Now that's something that should be put into a video game where all of the interesting things that go into that would be something to be picked up, so there'd be something positive that people could be involved in. You know, they could pick up on it. One of the problems.
No World of Warcraft. How about World of Peacecraft?
This was the Kucinich wants the Department of Peace, or we're transcending scarcity. They're going to have some sort of a way. How are we going to deal with a world of overwhelming abundance, which is coming if we're not going to blow things up?
Because
yes, it
I think there's a whole bunch of people in Africa that are freezing and starving and need some cures to AIDS.
I don't think they
freeze
freeze that much in Africa, except up Kilimanjaro. It gets cold at night, but not freezing. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah,
$1 a day or something. Live on. Our mother's deciding which of the 2 babies she's going to let starve. When we know that we have the capability of providing overwhelmingly for everybody, but our systems won't let us do what we're capable of doing because we're outdated.
You know what? No, not a case of that. I think personally they don't want them to live.
Well, it could be if we're getting down to where the only function that the pieces. You got a few people. You had the emperors in Rome. You had the kings in dynastic states. Now you got the finance capital guys. They own everything, and they used to depend upon people as slaves. Now the loom has learned to weave, and the real danger is if they get really nasty about it, they own everything. They own all the assets. A few people. They don't even need the people as slaves. Let them die of AIDS. Frig them. We don't need them. We don't need slaves anymore. That's a danger. But there's other metaphors that have to be dealt with. You know how many cells in a human organism? 100 trillion.
Trillion?
100 trillion in your human organism. And they all count. That's the kind of a metaphor we need. We need some sort of a thing like that in order to get everybody counts. We need to have some sort of, we're either going to blow this whole thing up, or we're going to have a liberation into a new way of being in the universe.
Because when they say we're going to blow this thing up, it's not me, it's not you, it's the powers
Well, it might
that
be us if we're not able to come up with an alternative that is really comprehensive and
for the Illuminati to come on. They have to
do you have to? Well, okay, that's another issue. That's another that gets into politics and things like that. We need to have a thing. And one of the problems is, I think it's coming that we have to present an alternative. It's our fault.
So
for
we
not
have
coming
to present.
We have to present an alternative that's going to subsume them. But it's also going to be liberating.
Yeah, and then they're going to, what happens is they're going to jump on the bandwagon afterwards.
Like
you ever see them on YouTube? On YouTube, so like channel, like all the different ones. Like
Are you making
Fox
sport of your elders now?
No.
Are you making sport of your elders?
No, I'm saying when I see CBS, CBS has a YouTube page.
Yeah.
Now I'm going, see now they're looking and they see what's big, and now they're
Don't be looking to them for it. Don't be looking at those
no, I'm not looking at them. They're looking at us.
One of the biggest problems.
Look, can I say something?
You can say anything you want on this video.
Way back in the days, I remember when public access, when the TV stations were looking at public access for what should be on.
Oh, they I don't think they've never given serious. But I think they're going to, because this is it's public access and sister institutions, YouTube kind of things, and everything is where the planet is going to find its direction.
Right.
It's not going to find it from the outdated systems.
Because I remember
MTV
was doing that, and they had a Squirt TV from the original Squirt TV, and then they had Squirt MTV, and then Oddville, which was from award-winning Beyond of Vaudeville, which is a fantastic thing. They directly bought them out and put them on normal TV.
Oh, yeah, they could co-opt them.
Yeah, they co-opt them.
That's the thing. That's called divide and conquer or co-op.
Right, and then what happens after they take it, and they chew it up and they spit it out.
Yeah.
Ouch.
It comes out to reify the old institution. One of the problems, Philip, is we do not have enough. You have another clip. Do we want to get that in?
Oh, yeah.
We have approximately... it's now 40, so we have about 10 minutes left.
Okay, well,
can we get another clip in, and can you set it up? What is the other clip?
The next clip is going to be...
That was a great clip of the...
Thank you, I love the Rock Horror Show. The next clip is going to be me and the Masked Mutant are interviewing Suzanne Muldowney. Suzanne Muldowney is this woman. She's a performance artist. She's the embodiment of underdog. If I could plug her website, it's Muldowneyville. Just do a search on Muldowneyville. Take a look at that on tripod.com or whatever, something like that. And... she's been on the Howard Stern Show. She's been on Jimmy Kimmel Live recently, and she's just a fantastic.
Has she been on MNN yet?
She's been on MNN.
I don't care about what's
on my
listen,
show.
I want to tell you, I don't care what's on CBS or I don't care what's on NBC. I care what's on MNN. Yeah.
Well, I thought I already explained it.
Was that the Duke of Hamburger or the Duke of Earl of
No, hamburgers and ice cream cones were introduced in 1904, making this the 100th anniversary at a World's Fair in St. Louis, Missouri.
I like the St. Louis burger at Johnny Rockets. Not to plug real quick or anything like that. But Suzanne, I would like to present you with this expensive bobblehead from Toy Tokyo. So
I spare no
expense.
expense.
It's rare, unless Mutant totally breaks it. Thank you. So please enjoy this and perhaps at the Checkerboard Kids program.
Yay. Yeah.
That's an award that she likes getting. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for watching the show. And
I have one thing that the statue doesn't have.
And what would that be?
The ring.
Light.
So ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Suzanne Muldowney as Underdog doing 40 years. You know, she just did 50 years.
Yeah.
Actually, it was her birthday.
It was her birthday. Who was the dude off to your right?
That was the Masked Mune. I went to high school with him, and we just.
He looked like something out of Rocky Horror.
He was in that Rocky Horror.
Oh, he was in the Rocky Horror. He played that ring, that guy, right?
Yeah,
Who was it that played that?
Actually,
role in this movie.
What? Who?
That role of the hunchback.
Oh no, that's Riff Raff. No, Riff Raff. The one that played that was Madman Mike playing him, and that scene. But the Masked Mutant, he's more like a Phantom of the Opera type. He likes a Phantom of the Paradise. If you ever seen that film, Paul Williams, it was
Phantom of the Paradise.
Phantom of the Paradise is a parody of.
What are some of the good films? Is film important to the youth and everything?
Heck yeah, man! Especially cult films.
Cult films.
Yeah, if I could throw some films.
So what are some of the ones maybe that people don't know that we should get? And what are some of the ones we should pick?
All right, here's one I recommend.
Do they like Slacker or not?
No, man, Slacker is so. You know what? Slacker was a good film, but I haven't seen it personally, so I can't really.
You haven't seen Slacker?
No.
You haven't seen Slacker?
I'm good. I was a slacker.
It's great. He made it. No, they made it with practically nothing. It was like the kind of thing that could be put together on nothing.
Public access.
And it was beautifully done. I thought it was really great. A great message. Just drop out.
Drop out?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Well, you know what? Because you could always walk away. Sometimes
Slackers. Instead of just giving it the old good 1-2 and hard press to get the system going, just
drop out.
Take a dropped out attitude.
Well, actually,
which is probably the right way to be.
My point right now, because I'm at this point.
Toward the established institutions. Right?
Yeah, because right now, like with the with the situation with the learning, with my situation with the establishment, they're putting it on me. Like they want to take away my license. They want to do this. They want to do that. And I just realized. You can just let go. If you want, you could just let go and walk away if you want to. And
you could walk away if you had a source of income.
Oh yeah, hell yeah!
The thing that keeps everybody enslaved is that they have to have that money to buy food to eat. You have to eat and you have to pay rent. And
I'm
stuff
hungry,
and that's what keeps them that way. They're like we used to have chattel slavery.
Yeah.
The Marxists talk about wage slavery. I mean, everybody's slaves really to the thing.
For sure.
And I think that they're going to have to set the people free. And if they set the people free, and let's say you talked about where you went down to meet the Rocky Horror and everybody was nice.
Yeah.
Suppose we had a world where everybody was nice and nobody was worrying about whether they're going to have something to eat or something like that.
Right.
Would that be a good world, or would that be one that would dissipate all the energy that is generated by all the control freaks?
No, I think everybody would want in on something.
I
think it would be like a collective thing. Some people would work on making
what they want.
Yeah, I like cooking, so I'm going to help cook. So that when it's time for lunchtime, everybody's going to have something good to eat.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be susceptible to all the behavioral psychology cheese things out there in that maze that they try to run you through to do life, saying if you go here you'll be okay, if you're not. And it's all these control freaks trying to control everybody.
Exactly.
Rather than let the people be free to find their own way.
Believe that you will be safe with this. You will never be safe. So the bottom line is, once you accept that you will never be safe, everything falls into place.
Why do we put up with it? Why do the people put up with this kind of an absurd situation of being led around by the nose by a few people who have all the control?
I'll give you a hint. We were taught it as kids. Usually I think it has to do with
the education
religion.
Was about.
Sorry.
Religion, I think it might have been the alphabet.
Yeah.
I'm
what?
alpha.
You're anti-alphabet.
I am. I'm the only person. I think we're getting back to, like when you walk through you don't have to be taught to talk. True. You realize that? What they're doing is there's things you have to learn. And why do you have to learn? You have to learn them in order to get your consciousness strung out linearly. We're now coming back.
Like the ideas of time.
Time.
Like you talked to
like Michener taking 8 pages to describe what you experience multisensorially as you walk through life all at once. It's electronic. It's all at once. The kids are getting back to having a review. They're coming back to that all at onceness like you have when you go through life. When you walk through life, you're experiencing everything multisensorially.
So what you're saying is
and the alphabet strings everything out and makes it linear. And the kids are way ahead of where we are, and those institutions are all predicated that way. They're all set up. Lines of authority, assembly lines, all kinds of things like that. Everything's strung out in parts and specialized.
All
and everything.
desks one after the other, nice
and the kids
little rows.
The kids are electronic. They're singing the body electronic. Thank God, Walt Whitman.
Yeah, sure.
You know, I mean, that's what I'm thinking. So, I mean, yeah, I'm down on the
Fame.
alphabet.
Actually, the movie Fame, they were singing, I sing the body electric.
Right.
Which also had a great Rocky Horror scene in that movie, too. So
Rocky Horror is great, but so
Alan
is
Parker,
Slacker. You ought to see Slacker.
Well,
but what other films? What other films?
Other films I actually enjoyed. Actually, The Phantom of the Paradise, like I was saying before.
Phantom of Paradise?
Phantom of the Paradise, the cult film. I would say... oh gosh, what is Forbidden Zone?
Forbidden Zone?
The Forbidden Zone. That's a very interesting little film. I think it's Richard Elfman and with Danny Elfman, who does all these great soundtracks.
Or the actor?
The soundtrack, the guy he's from Oingo Boingo. He does the soundtracks.
Oingo
Boingo.
What's Oingo Boingo?
Oingo Boingo is
I'm sorry I'm so late.
No, it's okay. It's a band that was very big, and then they broke up later on.
I used to like the Fugs. Do you
The
remember
Fugs?
the Fugs? That was my favorite movie out of the 60s with the Fugs.
The Fugs, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I love with you.
Great.
Yeah,
and Ed Saunders.
I used to live for a while
and
there.
Zappa, I like Frank Zappa.
Oh, I love Frank. I was born on Frank Zappa's birthday.
Yeah, he's a great musician.
1940. In fact, I actually got to see The World's Greatest Sinner that had an early soundtrack by Frank Zappa.
There's a connection between the generations in the music, don't you think?
Yes.
We had Bach, Beethoven,
Zappa. And now what do we have? What do we have
What
now?
do we have? I don't know. I'm
Nothing.
not up on
Justin
it.
Timberlake.
There's nothing. Who?
Justin Timberlake and
I don't know who that
Britney
is.
Spears, the chick that just shaved her head because she's being such a rebel.
I've heard
now.
the name, but I don't know her very much.
Exactly. Well,
yeah,
you know what?
I like Richie Havens. He was at Woodstock.
Freedom.
He was the first person to sing at Freedom, right?
Yeah.
And that was about when we were getting to the point where the weapons that we have now are able to destroy the whole species, about the time of Woodstock.
Exactly.
And also when, according to Bucky Fuller, if the youth starts picking up on some really serious, important people, that's when we were transcending the ontological situation, that we were transcending material scarcity in an ontologic sense, and liberation was in the air. That's what you should start picking up on that.
Guys,
and the movement should start picking up on that.
Let the revolution begin now. Let the revolution begin with you. Because think of it like this. If you're going to wait for the other kids to get pissed off, they're going to do away with you, silly. So be the person that decides you're not going to tolerate this BS anymore.
But don't you think the media offers an opportunity for education in a way? Why
I think public access
I don't know.
does.
Why does anybody go to school?
The Youth Channel does.
Why I would put it a different way, because I got advanced degrees and all. Why would anybody go to university? Because you've got like the internet is like a autodidactic university of the spheres. Why would anybody go and sit and listen to some dude wailing on his thing in order to get graded, to learn how to get a wage and all that? Why would they submit themselves to that, except it's because of the chance that you're going to get a chance to eat?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it's like a slave mentality.
You know, if you really wanted to, you could just learn this program and learn, you know, for example, I'm really interested in animation. I want to be an animator. I would like to do something like that because I have a lot of...
They had that film about the creatures that were there 45 million years ago. It was fantastic.
Oh, you're talking about
Not
Ice
a
Age?
written word. No, that thing I saw on Christmas I told you about at the beginning.
Oh, yes.
They did the whole thing. The best research in the world about a very important, interesting thing. Animated, had to be.
I want to see it.
But it was great, and there wasn't a single written word in there. It was all voice.
I think
you could translate.
You are proving, and it could be in any language and everybody understands it.
You can translate it into Zimbabwe or Swahili.
You know,
put it in front of an 8-year-old in Africa, he gets educated without all those stupid words he has to read.
You know, you're swaying me on this.
Well,
here.
I mean, that's just my own thinking. We're coming back into, we're reclaiming. That's the way we were when we were at Eden. We were experiencing things all at once. Tactility. We had a resonance. Now we're back. We're closing quotes on that extension of the consciousness. We're doing that.
Well,
and now we're coming back, except now we have a knowledge base to transcend what we've been throughout 200,000 years. We're putting humanity behind us. We're coming into a new relationship to the cosmos. Do the kids pick up on anything positively like that? Do they see that we're coming into a new relationship? Liberation is in the wind. A new reality is coming right over the horizon, and is there a positive sense of the future, that sort of thing, among the youth that you try to teach?
No. Well,
or are they all being bent out of shape by all?
Well, they're all bent out of shape because they're worrying about their own situations. I have kids falling asleep because they've been on the grind all night selling drugs. It's rough. It's the truth. You know. So the bottom line is, yo. let it come. Let the revolution come, because then it'll set all those kids free.
Well, if one of the things that they're going to need in order for that revolution to come, and the precursors to all that, is going to be the Checkerboard Kid show on MNN, which is a place to which everyone... No, that's a very serious thing, that thing you got going. I congratulate you. So good talking to you.
It is a pleasure.
Sorry we run out of time.
Oh, no, yeah. Wow, an hour goes fast over here.
Doesn't it go fast when you're having fun?
Yeah, true that.
Revolution's in the air. And the Checkerboard, really good. And we're getting a hell of a faculty over here at MNN.
Yeah, we got